So, I hear that I'm not on the internet these days, but I have done a few videos about my experiences with Will Smith, and recently a post was taken from my personal Facebook page by the nigga networks, and I'm calling you nigga networks because that's what you are. You're nigga networks. BET, TV1, and man bitches like Perez Hilton. And what you did was you took my personal post and you put it on blast and you put what you thought I meant, or you put your own seasoning on this so-called steak, not caring about what was happening in my life or regarding what was going on in my life, and not calling me to ask me, Miss Hubert, is everything okay? No concern, no compassion for my situation whatsoever. So I realized something about the black media. And I realized that, I needed some time to step away from all social media. But when you start questioning my mental ability, TV1, Kathy Hughes, then we have a problem. We have a problem. So Will, make no mistake, this video is for you, directly. Now your wife, y'all got this little show called The Red Table, where you sit there and you spill the blood of your own children on the table. And there was a movie called The Red Violin, which is what I'm sure where you got this whole concept. But I have spent many years protecting my son, never, ever, ever putting his name in print or photographs or pictures, because I understand how vicious people are, especially my community, especially the black community. And for 27 years, I've waited for you to be man enough to admit that you lied like a rug. But I know you're not going to do that. And I said this on the reel when, the Oscar video went down, that, you have a lot of skeletons in your closet, sweetheart. And for you to be talking about black consciousness when you don't even have any black employees at your production company was ironic. Ironic. So look, Will, y'all ain't going to invite me to the red table, so welcome to my butcher block. And this butcher block is not just for you. This is my last video. I am not on this earth much longer. And I will not go to my grave feeling that questions have been unanswered or misconceptions of me that you put there have never been dealt with, and especially for my son. I am tired. You were a young man back then, and you had this incredible sense of, I need to win at all costs. And I've even read things where you've actually admitted that you needed to win. And so I think you understood, if you saw that post, better than anybody, because guess who didn't respond? Everybody else responded but you. Now, a lie told once is a lie, but a lie told again and again and again and again becomes truth. And since you and I know that no one in Hollywood has the guts to stand up, because it's like the frickin' cartel out there, and I'm shocked that someone like Warren Littlefield, who was there when all of this went down and allowed it to go down, nowhere did it ever say, I was fired. The only person who ever said that, sweetie, was you and your tampon, Alfonso Ribeiro. And I call him a tampon for a reason. He has always been your little asswipe. He has always done your dirty work because he wanted to be you. He desperately wanted to be you. But Alfonso goes around saying things like, I couldn't get work. I was typecast with this role. Well, honey, if you stop doing the Carlton dance long enough to maybe somebody could hire you to do something different. But your boy could have given you many jobs since you had done so much of his dirty work. Now, well, I'm going to say this to you. You make these videos and you're claiming to be this prophet of good and a life coach on success and telling people how to make it as an actor in this business. And there are many people who follow you and many people who believe your hype because people believe that the measure of a man is how much money he has. I'm nobody. I'm just a woman who played a shitty role on a sitcom, which, dear God, I wish I hadn't. The one thing I do regret in my life was ever taking that role, to have worked with someone like you. I have worked with major stars before you, and we've had wonderful experiences. I did Broadway, wonderful experiences, until working with people who do not understand what it took to get to the level that I was at, and the level. Dancing on broken toes, being an extra for $200, doing anything you can, working at a donut shop. That's what it takes to be an actor, not someone, whose career has been bought and paid for, whose path was just golden nuggets like Donald Trump. I mean, it's amazing to me that people actually buy the bull. I've always wanted to ask you, I'm going to ask you now, since, you're at my butcher block. Why did you go so far? Why was it so necessary? Why? And yeah, you came out with all those accolades about me being brilliantly talented and all of that. And why did you want the dance episode cut? And why did you call me back 3 years later and ask me to come back and buy the house? Because you thought it would be funny after you left me with a child, with no money, with no home. We were broke. We were penniless. We were homeless. You did win. But here's the problem. When you decide to put your children in front of the media, and tell their deepest, darkest secrets, what you don't understand is that the public doesn't care about your children. The public despises children of privilege. People thought my son was privileged, and he'd walk down the street and they'd call him a little rich motherfucker, And we were certainly not rich. I mean, we barely had money to eat. There were days where I would have to give him the burger and I would eat nothing. But I was signing autographs at the same time. That's what you left us with. But you also left my child with those very same words. People chided him. Other kids chided him with your words. They used your words to get at him because he was a smart kid and a bright kid. And I know that, I'm sure you didn't know that these things were happening, but they did. And they tried to break my spirit and his. I mean, I've had black women come up to me and say some of the meanest things you've ever... And what's amazing is so many of them are church women. I've had people like Kenya Moore use your words against me after I had been on the set with her and even cooked for the bitch, okay? My life, when you banished me and when you tainted me and when you put your poison in, you poisoned my entire world. You poisoned my art. You poisoned people against me. The vomit that you spewed I still reek of it every time I walk into a room, every time I try to have a meeting, every time I try to talk about an event, every time I would try to call Oprah for help. Oprah's people would say, no, she's friends with Will and Janet will never be on the show. I'm sorry, we can't promote her. We can't promote her on our show because she has a very deep and profound friendship with Will. And I was like, wow, that's how deep. Anytime I try to call and make a meeting in California or try to go on The View said to me, we can't have you on because we don't want to offend the Smiths. So if I'm talking about new projects and everybody says, Miss Hubert, why can't you just move on? Well, if somebody said your mama's a hoe, and then that reputation follows you and follows you and follows you and follows you, then, you know, your mama becomes a hoe. And you did that. But I wish you had thought about my family. I wish you had thought about the consequences of your actions. And to the Black community, I say this to you. Shame on you. Shame on you. You have been my judge, my jury, my executioner, and my sentencer. And you never knew what was going on. Instead of getting behind Maxine Waters and saying to the Black community, let's rally behind Maxine Waters. And if you attack Maxine Waters, then you attack all of us. And we all stand with Maxine Waters. You bitches would rather fight me at a time where I'm going through a devastating crisis in my life. So when I said, fuck you, world, on that post, that was private. Now it's public. F you, world. And to the Black community, if you choose to take my black card, honey, I done shredded it a long time ago. Because y'all, some of y'all, not all of us, y'all are the meanest. We are one of the meanest races of people I've ever seen. Now, in closing, I'm going to say this. I am one of those people who will always stand up. Yeah, I stood up for Whitney. You're damn right, I stood up for Whitney. And Essence Magazine called me an unlikely hero. And I blame you, the Black community, for the destruction of some of that woman and her daughter. I blame you. Because here's what you love to do. You love to see us come up, but then you love to tear us down. Because this is what we do. We, unlike any other community in this country, I don't know why the hell we call each other brother and sister, because we sure don't act like, we have not acted like brother or sister. That terminology went out in the 70s, honey, and it will never be back. Because nowadays, it's all about money. It's all about who's large. Everybody wants to be followed. Follow me, like me, like me. Well, I'm going to tell you this, and this is my last thing. I don't give two craps whether you like me or whether you follow me, but you will respect me. You will not question my life. You will not judge my mental state because you are a non-factor. And Kathy Hughes, honey, maybe if you tried hiring some real actresses, maybe your ratings on that tired-ass network would be better than they are. And as for you, Will, you've done quite well. But karma is a bitch. And she does have a vagina. So be careful of the very thing that you seek is respect as an actor. You can't tell nobody to study the craft when you know nothing about it. Now I'm done. This is my last video that I will ever make on this subject. I wish if I could go back and redo anything, I would have turned down Fresh Prince. It has been the bane of my existence. It was just a job, and I'm glad you all liked it, but please don't call me Aunt Liv. If you didn't see me at your Thanksgiving table, I am not your aunt, honey. I am just a woman who played a role in a character. And if you see me on the street and you decide to come up to me and say something, beware. I do bite back. And I bite back hard. But for those of you who have been wonderful to me and fans to me and understanding of my plight, I love what I do. I love what I do. I worked very hard to hone my craft and to be an artist. And that is what I am and will be until the day that I die. And when that day comes, please do not mourn me. Do not send thoughts and prayers. Until you will, carry on, honey. So, welcome to my butcher block, and I hope you enjoyed it. So now I hope that clears up a little bit of the bullshit that's been going around about me. And don't try to contact me on social media because all I do is delete you. I am not part of it anymore. It's like Pandora's box.